Welcome to the 7th game of the Midwinter Mini Start Collecting Deathmatch, where 16 of the main factions in Warhammer 40k fight to the death in a knockout tournament using only their Start Collecting boxes. My name's Guy, I'll be your host for today's game, and in this matchup we'll see the Hammer of the Emperor, the brave fighting force of the Astra Militarum, take on the gorgeously grotesque horror that is the Daemons of Slaanesh. Let me quickly whip through the rules to catch you up, and then we'll take a look at the armies. In this tournament, all of the armies, no matter the points value or power level, will be limited to 3 command points at the start of the game. The custom-built arena is combat patrol sized, objective scoring zones and deployment zones are marked out with white lines, and the board is symmetrical. Now this part is really important, especially for this game, so pay attention. Games last just 4 turns. The battlefield has 3 scoring zones, 1 in each deployment zone and 1 in the centre, each worth 5 victory points if held in your command phase starting from turn 2. The Zone Mortalis walls are heavy cover, they block line of sight, and they can be scaled, affording climbers a +1 save bonus. Each player can select 1 secondary objective, but if the scores are tied at the end of turn 4, the battle will go on for 1 more turn. The winner of the match is whichever army has scored the most victory points by the end of the 4th battle round, and it's possible to win even if your whole army has been wiped out, so long as they scored enough points before they died. Okay, I think that's you up to speed, now let's take a look at the armies for this matchup.
Hi, my name's Scott, and today I am in control of the Slaanesh Start Collecting box set. I've got a Torment Bringer on Exalted Chariot, I've got 10 Demonettes, and I also have 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. My Warlord trait for today is Fatal Caress. For my Psychic discipline, I took Cacophonic Choir, and for my Relic, I'm going to take the Mark of Excess. As many Slaanesh players will know, Slaanesh are a little bit of a glass cannon. They're ever so fast and they can do some damage with their psychic abilities. In combat they're not too bad either, and also the demon saves will provide a really nice buffer for me, I feel, in this game.
Hey it's Zan back again, look here. So, today I'm playing as the Astra Militarum. Leading the helm is a Commissar, he's going to be my Warlord. So I've given him the Warlord trait, Superior Tactical Training, which means he can also issue Mechanized orders on top of the Profectus orders. Now the Leman Russ is set up as a tank commander. It's got 2 heavy bolters, it's got a heavy flamer, and it's also got a Leman Russ battle cannon right on top, swiveling around. The Commissar is going to be able to issue some of those mechanized orders over to the Leman Russ. That's going to come in really, really handy because there's some spicy ones that could give it a little bit of an edge. What I've also got at the back is a mortar. Now this is going to be very interesting. Doesn't need line of sight. It can just keep popping up those mortars over the battlefield to hopefully hit some of those units sitting in the backfield on the opponent's objective. But wait a second. There's only 1 mortar team there. You can't field that. Well, you can. Due to it being understrength units, you can actually field that single mortar, which is lucky for this Start Collecting battle report. Lastly, I've got a squad of 10 Cadian shock troops. That's made up of 7 shock troopers with a las gun, a shock trooper sergeant that's got las pistol chainsword, he's got a special weapon shock trooper in there with a flamer, and also another special weapon shock trooper with a grenade launcher. The Leman Russ tank commander also has been given the Knight of Piety. So this gives it a 5-up invuln save, but more importantly, if it loses a mortal wound on a roll of a 5, it is not lost. So that's going to come in very handy against the psychic shenanigans within that Torment Bringer.
Both armies are Battleforged patrol detachments, so we'll start with 3 command points and generate 1 in each command phase. In terms of secondary objectives, Ant chose Domination, so that will net him 3 extra victory points at the end of his turn if he controls 2 of the 3 objectives on the board. Scott went for Attrition, so at the end of a battle round in which more Guard units were destroyed than Slaanesh units, he'll score 4 victory points. They took turns setting up, the Demonettes on Scott's backfield objective, the Lone Mortar Squad right at the back sitting on Ant's objective, the Seekers hiding behind the wall, the Guardsmen poised to rush the centre objective, the Torment Bringer on the near side planning a little rush up the flank, the Leman Russ tank commander behind its Penal Trooper meat shield, and the Commissar bringing up the rear. Time to roll off to see who gets the first turn. Both roll a 5, it's going to be one of those games. Okay, try again. And with another 5, Scott's Slaanesh army is going first. Before we begin, a very important request. Please leave a comment. I love reading them all, but be courteous to your fellow 40k fans and don't leave any big spoilers that might ruin other people's enjoyment of the game. Thank you, you're the best. Right, let's get on with it.
At the beginning of the battle round, I get to roll 8 dice for my Warp Storm points. 3 Warp Storm points it will have to do. Let us take our command point and go up to 4. Right, we are going to move up the ways. We're going to take our Seeker Chariot and move it just here. The Seeker's up as well. I am going to be a little bit cagey. Don't want them to be out in the open, so they will just shuffle behind the chariot. The Demonettes are just going to stay where they are, keeping that home field objective, and that concludes my movement phase. In my psychic phase, I will target the Penal Colony Troopers. The psychic spell I will use is Cacophonic Choir from the Soul Stain discipline. Has a warp charge value of 7. Let us see if we can get that off. Just.
With Cacophonic Choir, Scott's going to be rolling 3d6 and trying to beat Ant's leadership. If he beats it, the shock troopers will take the difference in mortal wounds. Now luckily, Ant's commissar is within 6 inches, so they can use his leadership of 8.
Let's see if we can get 8 and above on 3d6. We sure do. So that will give you 4 mortal wounds.
Oh, God. 4 dead troopers straight away. Nothing I can do to save that. Still quite a few in the way, so kind of a meat shield still. And also, it's forcing me into a combat attrition test later on. Leadership 8. So let's roll a d6. I've lost 4 troopers. We're safe. I'm breathing a sigh of relief. I still have 6 troopers protecting that tank.
That then concludes my turn. Over to you, Ant.
Beginning of my turn, let's give myself another command point in this command phase. Now it's time for my commissar to issue some orders. So we're going to be issuing the forwards for the Emperor on those shock troops, which essentially means that they can go and advance forward onto that objective, but when it comes to shooting, it's as if they didn't move. How did they get there? Okay, let's go on to the movement. Let's try and get those troops as far up ahead as we possibly can. Let's roll to see how much we get on the advance. I'll definitely take that. Cool, 11 inches forward!
You don't want to go too far forward, because like the Demonettes are right there.
I'm pretty okay with everything else staying where it is. From now on, I really think my commissar would be better issuing orders down to the tank. Now on to some shooting. This is the phase that this army loves the best. I am going to be sticking as much as I possibly can into that chariot. That's a scary boy. I don't like it.
Just before Ant starts his shooting phase, I'm going to spend the 3 Warp Storm points that I generated at the beginning of the turn on Descending Shadow. So this will give my entire army a -1 to hit as long as they are 12 inches away.
Let's start out with the shock troops. Now they've got some las guns, but because technically they didn't really move. There are 3 las guns and they're going to be shooting rapid fire, so that means there's going to be 6 coming through. The flamer is outside of range, the grenade launcher is not though, and the las pistol is in range on the sergeant. So let's just go for the las guns first. That is just 3. The shock troops have got a 5 and a 6 there, but that means they score additional hits. So I've got 2 more additional hits. Now because of the doctrine of my army, a 6 also is an auto wound, and I've got 3 other hits that I need to make a wound roll on. And that's 2 wounds. Pretty lucky if you ask me.
I'm going to have to try and save those on my demon save of a 4+. I will spend a command point to try and re-roll one of those. No. So that takes me down to 10 wounds.
Okay, now for the grenade launcher in that squad. I'm going to be firing a crack grenade. And we don't hit. Now it's the tank. Okay, let's go for heavy bolters first. 2 of these bad boys, heavy 3. We're going to be hitting on 5s though. Now, because of the combat doctrine, my 6s will auto-wound.
2 wounds, 2 demon saves. 1 saved, 1 goes through.
So that's 2 damage.
Whittling me away there.
Let's move on to the spicy boy here. We've got the Lehman Russ battle cannon. Let me just check if it's in range. Oh yeah, it's a 72-inch range. How many shots we're gonna get? Well, that's a bit of a whiff. So whilst it's only 2, I also get another 3, so that makes 5. The turret weapon gets a +1 to the hit, but we're -1 as well, so it's a 4 up to try and hit on these ones. So as before, the 6 is auto wound, so that is 1 6 going through needing to be saved, and then that's another 3 hits. We're going to be wounding on breeze. So we got a total of 3 wounds going through that need to be saved by
demon saves on 4s. And we make them all. Check it.
Okay, one last thing to shoot. It's the mortar right there at the back. First off, let's see how many shots we're getting. Alright, 4, perfectly fine. Okay, normally hit on 4s, but we've got a -1 on this, so 5s. And that's nothing. End of my shooting, really the end of my turn. I'm not charging anything right now, but because of my secondary objective, domination, I'm controlling more objectives than my opponent there, so yeah, that's going to be 3 victory points to me. Off to a steady start here.
At the beginning of turn 2, I will score 5 victory points for my demonettes sitting on the home objective, and I also have to roll again for my warp storm points. Only the 2. I am going to move my Seeker Chariot behind the L here to try and get me some more cover and be a bit more survivable. It's time to munch those guys on the centre. So let us move our Seekers further over. They are rapid, they move 16 inches. After much consideration, I'm going to leave my demons on the backfield objective. I did think about moving them up to perhaps get further up, but I think those Seekers are going to make light work of those troopers. Is straight on to the psychic phase. So we are going to use Cacophonic Choir from the Soul Stain discipline.
Now, it's not often I get my laser pointer out, but the rule for Cacophonic Choir says that it targets the closest visible model, and with the terrain in the way, the closest visible model to the base of the chariot is that poor mortar squad at the back.
This goes off on a 7, please. Just what we need. And your leadership of your mortar team is?
It's going to be 8 because of the commissars right
8.
there.
A roll of 11. That is 3 mortal wounds.
That is a dead mortar team with only 2 wounds. My guys, you were supposed to survive, but not like this.
Well, that was a very successful psychic phase. Now we move on to the charge phase.
Before the charge, I'm going to spend 1 CP on an Overwatch. And let's do the las gun, the las pistols together. Rapid fire. So we've got 6 las guns and 1 for the pistol. 6 is needed. And that's luckily 3 6s. Because Overwatch is still a ranged attack, it still means that the 6s will auto wound. So that's 3 auto wounds going through.
Demon saves! Ooh, we saved 2, 1 goes through.
Okay, let's go for the grenade launcher guy. So let's fire a frag grenade. Let's see how many frags we get. That's 5. That's just 1 6 going through, so that's 1 auto wound from the frag grenade.
And we save that.
Okay, and it's time for the flamer, boys. Let's see how many shots we get. Just the 3, but they are auto hitting. 4s to wound. That's all 4 that go through.
That's some really nice rolling there, Ant. Let us see if we can come in again with our demon saves.
That's 1 damage extra coming through. That looks like a dead Seeker to me.
After that little session of Overwatch, it is now time to charge in, and we make it with a 5. After the charge, we can now pile in 3 inches. At the start of the fight phase, I'm going to spend a CP on Rapturous Standard. I can re-roll the hit rolls. This is 19 attacks, hitting on 3s. Re-roll. That's not bad for starters. So we are wounding on 3s. That is -2 to your save, Ant.
There are no saves. That is the whole unit dead. And also, probably if there was another unit, they would also be dead. Losing that objective is a tough one to swallow.
To keep my points tally moving in the right direction, I'm going to consolidate 3 to the Lehman Russ, but still leaving 1 Seeker in the centre deployment zone. Still with unit coherency for the Seeker on the middle objective. Then concludes my turn.
So this is the start of my turn 2. Okay, so first off, let's give myself another command point. Let's score 5 points for holding that objective at the back. Time to issue an order. I am going to issue full throttle to that tank. Means it gets extra 2 inches to its movement. And also, if I advance it, in the shooting phase, it still counts as having remained stationary. Which means that hopefully I can get it onto that centre objective and then blast those Seekers off of it. Okay, let's go on to movement phase. Let's just see how much we get on the advance roll. So that's 4 in the advance, that's 16 inches. I think I can get over to the other side of that objective. Okay, I'm also going to move my Commissar right to the very edge so we can still issue some orders to the tank if the tank survives next round and the Commissar survives next round. Also takes him a little bit out of charge range of that chariot which is hiding, so it's going to come at me, I'm sure. Okay, let's shoot! No surprises here. Everything from the tank is going into those Seekers. The Commissar is also going to be shooting into the Seekers as well. I need to destroy that unit. For 1 command point, I'm going to use Ingrained Precision, and that basically is going to give my tank the ability to auto-wound on 5s as well as 6s for the Doctrine. Heavy bolters first. So hitting on 4s, 2 5s that are auto-wounding, and 1 4 just to do a wound roll on. Strength 5, toughness 4, gonna need 3s to wound. Eventually it lands and it's a 5, so that's 3 wounds going through, needing to be saved by a demonic savey save.
2 go through. I think I will use a command point to try and re-roll one of those. And it's a pass.
So even with just 1 fail now, with 2 damage each heavy bolt around, that is 1 dead Seeker.
Now onto the Heavy Flamer. Let's see how many auto-hitting shots we get. That's 5. Suddenly, the dice are on my side. Let's see to wound. Freeze needed. That's 4 wounds. I'm pretty happy with that.
4 demon saves! Or not. 1 saved.
Okay, so lastly for the tank at least, let's go on to the battle cannon and see how many shots we're going to be getting. Oh, that's 5 shots plus the 3 auto wounding on 5s and 6s on the hit roll. So we got 1 auto wound. 3s to hit as well, so we've got 1, 2, 3 hits going through. This could be enough to finish them off, you know. It's 2s to wound. That's all wounding, so there are 4 demon saves to make.
4 demon saves, you say, Ant? Close, but not close enough. That unit of Seekers is gone.
Didn't even need the plasma pistol.
I know, right? Okay, so the plan worked. Finally, something actually worked here. That means I'm holding 2 objectives in the middle. It's the end of my turn. I score 3 victory points for my secondary objective. That brings me up to 11 victory points.
At the end of my turn, I score my secondary objective attrition, score 4 victory points at the end of the battle round if more enemy units than friendly units were destroyed this battle round. So it's another 4 victory points there, taking me up to 9. At the beginning of my battle round, I get to roll 8 dice for my Warp Storm points, looking for 4s.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I go up from 2 command points to 3. I score another 5 victory points for the Demonettes on the backfield objective. Okay, so it's my movement phase. I'm going to move the Demonettes off of that objective and take them to the centre and try and get a charge off on that Lehman Russ and wrap it up. Moving the chariot round the corner to try and mow down that Commissar. It's my psychic phase. Cacophonic Choir on the Commissar goes off on a 7, and we make it. So that is 3d6, and whatever exceeds the leadership is a mortal wound.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, that's disappointing, but welcome to me and my world of dodgy rolls. It is time for some whippy whip action. 6 of the best lashes going in on Rees. And that's not bad, only one miss. 3s to wound. AP is -1. 2 5-up invuns, please, Ants.
So Commissar loses 2 wounds. I mean, he's still alive, but for how long?
Okay, it's the charge phase. It's a 4-inch charge. Let's see what happens. Wonderful. Okay, as part of my charge phase, I'm going to run those demonettes into the Leman Russ. And would you like to overwatch?
Yes, I would very much like to overwatch. Let's start off with the battle cannon. Now, it's a blast weapon and there's 10 models in that unit, so we're going to get a minimum of 3. But let's see how many shots we actually get. So 5 plus 3, we got 8 shots coming in. Let's get 6s on the place. So that's 1 auto wound going through from the battle tank. Okay, now bolters. That's another one from the bolter, auto wounding. Now bring out the heavy flamer. How many shots we got? It's 3. 3s to wound. 2 more wounds going through. 4 to save.
Demon save! Oh dear, that's not good. I will spend a command point to try and save one of those, again taking me from 3 to 2. Okay, we have a 4-inch charge to make, and we are in. As I charged the Commissar in my charge phase, I get Scything Impact with my Torment Bringer. I get to roll 4d6 for each unit within engagement range of that model. Each roll of a 5+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. 2 mortal wounds.
Right, so the Commissar has had his day. He's been staying in there, not doing much, just issuing some orders. Isn't that just what Commissars do anyway? So well done, son. But you're dead now.
I will consolidate 3 towards the Leman Russ, but still keep the chariot within that objective marker. A massive 29 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's not too bad. Unfortunately, I am wounding on 6s.
Nothing at all. Oh
One.
my god, nothing at all.
1.
No, where? Oh yes.
1.
-2.
4 up save.
1.
Alright, so that's just 1 damage. Still got 12 wounds. I'm fairly comfortable with that. You're going to get 6 attacks, but hitting on 6s. What a surprise. None coming through.
So I owe a morale roll here. And I make it. I'm okay.
Okay, so it's now my command phase on the 3rd turn. Let's give myself another command point to start off with. So I don't score any more victory points because I'm not actually holding that middle objective now. And my Commissar's been toasted on that other objective, so... Okay, let's just shoot. I'm going to spend a command point on Ingrained Precision, which, as before, is going to allow me to auto-wound on a 5 as well as a 6 on the hit roll. Okay, heavy bolters first, hitting on 5s. So that's a 5 and a 6, they're both auto-wounding.
Demon saves! And they both fail.
How many flamer shots do we get? Why do I roll them like that?
Dice.
Oh, that is
Wow.
the longest spin in miniature history.
Still going?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 4! 4 auto hits, let's see if they wound. 3's needed, that's 2 wounds.
2 demon saves! Save 1, lose 1.
So Battle Cannon is swinging around to target the Torment Bringer. Let's see how many shots we get first. Oh, it's the big 6. That's going to be 9 shots coming through. Okay, so we're hitting on 4s and we're auto wounding on 5s and 6s. Okay, right. That's quite a lot of auto hits, but I really want to take that chariot down, so I am going to command point one of these. Excellent. Okay, so we got 5 going through auto wounding.
5 demon saves to be made. Let's hope we can pull it out the bag. I might as well use a command point there and see if we can try and make one of those into a 4. Let's take the 1. No.
Down to 2.
Bad news. Bad news.
Now it's onto the fight phase, engagement range. It's the demonettes to go first before I get to hit back.
Okay, in the vain attempt to do some more damage, I'm going to use my remaining command point on Rapturous Standard to re-roll all hit rolls in the melee. 3s, we will re-roll those misses. That's a wee bit better. 6s to wound. Oh, that's much better. So that's 6 wounds in total, -2, baby.
Okay, so 4's needed to save. Okay, that's a lot of 6s. Are these dice weighted or something? That's still 1 wound going through. Now it's time for the Lehman Russ to try and fight back. 6 attacks, hitting on 6s. 2 hits already, wounding on 3s.
Oh!
Never mind, okay, that's cool. I think it can withstand the next round, maybe? Do you need to take morale?
I do. And I make my morale check again. No running away today. At the end of that battle round, I get another 4 points for my secondary attrition. At the start of my turn 4, I will get another 10 victory points for holding the centre objective and the one in Ant's deployment zone, which would take me up to 28, which means there is no chance of Ant catching my total.
That's a really, really tough lot there. I mean, the Lehman Russ has still got so many wounds, but it just can't win. Cannot score enough victory points this turn in order to actually win the whole game. Those Demonettes, I would totally thrash them and the Chariot both this turn, leaving me as the sole survivor. But still, it's on victory points, and this time, I haven't quite got it.
Thank you, man.
That's all right, man. Thanks for the game.
Sorry about my sweaty palms. I think the thing that won me that game was the speed of the Slaanesh army. Being able to move up the side of the board and come round into Ant's deployment zone was really good. And that's a shame, having the best tank in the tournament still sitting there on pretty much full wounds, getting ready to blow the rest of my units off the field. It is a bit of a kicker, but that's 40k.
Well, I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed watching that game play out. It kind of goes to show that armies that put all of their eggs in one basket, like the Guard relying so heavily on that kitted out tank commander, it just doesn't leave them enough tactical options to secure a victory. This time, the Slaanesh demons' speed and sheer volume of attacks made quick work of the infantry, but they barely made a dent in that Lehman Russ. Still though, it felt like it could have gone either way almost till the end. The Slaanesh demons progress to the next stage and they'll be facing the winner of the next match. Game 8 between the Tau Empire and the Adeptus Mechanicus will be the final game of the last 16 before we move on to the quarterfinals. And given the announcement of 10th edition 40k just around the corner, it'll probably be the last game of 9th edition on the channel too. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. If you want to see how I painted those vibrant Slaanesh demons, or the Astra Militarum force, or even the backdrop of the arena, there'll be links at the end of the video and down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.